Just ask anyone who owns one. The Tesla Cybertruck is the toughest mother-loving pickup anyone could hope to buy. With, according to Tesla at least, baseball impact-proof windows, which is important. These help make the cabin, quote, as quiet as outer space, which is an epic insult to scientific literacy when you think about it. But they do go so well with the bulletproof doors. The cyber urinal is, quote, built for any planet. But currently sold only on Earth in select countries, as far as we know. At least batteries are included, I suppose. It's made of magic space-grade stainless steel, which is kind of awesome, especially if you lack a basic grasp of fundamental metallurgy. The point is, Tesla's battery-powered urinal is super resilient, dude. Except when it needs like a Ford F-150 to pull it out of not-so-deep off-road doo-doo. Electric Jesus, the enthusiastic heart-saluting court jester to his royal presidentialness Donald J. Trumpty Dumpty II, initially claimed that there were 1 million Cybertruck pre-orders, but problematically, only about 39,000 Cybertrucks were sold in 2024. That's according to Cox Automotive, which is seldom wrong about things of this nature. That's a bit disappointing. Not about Cox being right nearly all the time, about the sales, dude. Try to keep up. But not as disappointing as the Cybertruck owners themselves, who, a recent online thread suggests, are predictably, insufferably limp lefty snowflakes. I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au. New cars cheap, but as usual, Australia only. Website, card. A recent thread on cybertruckownersclub.com is self-stupefying, but dude, once you've seen it, you really can't look away. Worried about hate crime? Want to buy a Cybertruck? This seems like a paradox of sorts, or perhaps just an example of the solution staring you fair in the face. Just don't buy one, you frickin' genius. The originator of this post is at a university in some apparently lawless and hate-filled American place called Berkeley, which, apropos of nothing, has an element in the periodic table named after it. Imagine that. Atomic number 97, if you'd like to look it up. Not too many people drinking homegrown moonshine, eating cheese grits, gigging frogs, and otherwise stereotypically keeping it redneck with their trucks riding high and their nuts swinging low in Berkeley, I'd suggest. Imagine that, living in a place where hater criminals would profile you based on your choice of urinal-inspired electric transportation and subject you to hate crime simply because you chose wrong. What kind of heinous acts of hate crime are we actually talking about here? Sorry to interrupt, but just real quick, this video is sponsored by me, and the message is, don't buy an EV, dude. Get rooftop solar instead. There's just a better return on investment, and it's better for the planet. It's going to last you longer if you buy good components, of course. Rooftop solar is going to divorce you from coal, which is the nation's biggest emitter, and it divorces you from sky-high electricity bills and the inevitable increases, even if you flog your air conditioning all day long in summer, as I am doing currently because I work from home and it is hotter than two rats humping in Tarzan's sock at the moment. Satan couldn't take this heat. Where was I? Get a battery or add a battery to your existing setup, dude. Store the excess electricity on site and use it in the evening. How hard is it? That's when electricity is at its most expensive, of course, and then you won't be buying any, which saves you heaps. And you're going to protect yourself against power failures thanks to extreme weather conditions, of which there is more, and increasing grid stability, which we're all told to look forward to. Yay. I have the best solar partners in the universe, like the universe, dude. They're guaranteed not to be cowboys. They're guaranteed not to sell you low-quality crap components with zero onshore support. They've got in-house engineers who consult on every installation and make sure it works. Just go to autoexpert.com.au/solar and you fill in the form. I get my people to get their people in touch with your people. Which, now that I think about it, sounds a lot more complex than it really is. You just fill in the form, dude, and I take it from there, and there's no obligation. And I'm not just some influencer talking out of his ass for a sponsor on this one. I used my dudes to install the system on my house, and I paid for it, and it's been great. So I'm kind of a believer. autoexpert.com.au/solar. I'll put a link in the description. And now, back to me and those pesky Cybertruck hate crimes. The cyber urinal hate crime-phobia thread is one of the most entertaining pieces of literature which I have ever read, frankly. According to one poster on the forum who owns one of Elon's rolling urinals and actually lives in lawless Berkeley, the hate crimes they-them have experienced include a cyclist flipping they-them the bird while stopped, a female student talking loudly on her cell phone claiming that the Cybertruck simply being nearby had ruined her day, and some random douchebag seemingly engaging in conversation with they-them saying, quote, "Nice car, asshole," and flipping them the bird. Now, in the domain of intercourse, which is something I spend a lot of time thinking about, this is neither diplomatic nor most probably the way to win a lifelong friend. But still, it seems within the boundaries of the cherished American First Amendment, does it not? The hate offences do get worse, however. One individual posting on the forum had experienced a more aggravated form of Cybertruck hate crime, to wit, a banana peel was left on they-them's vehicle once. And probably not an organic one, although the details there are still sketchy. To be fair, the vehicle was parked and thus may have appeared to be a municipal rubbish bin, and the Magic Space stainless steel is probably impervious to banana peel attack, although that's not specifically stated in the Tesla brochure, obviously. Another victim claimed that they-them Cybertruck was, quote, cheesed. So, on the balance of probability, attacked by an enraged French person, most probably bombed out of their head on red wine and foie gras on a cheesing spree in downtown lawless Berkeley. The FBI, to the extent that it still exists under the auspices of far-right Elon, says that a hate crime actually is a criminal offence against a person or property motivated in whole or in part by an offender's bias against a race, religion, disability, sexual orientation, ethnicity, gender, or gender identity. So, against these 7 criteria, a cyber urinal being cheesed or banana peeled, if these are in fact verbs, is a hate crime only if the alleged victim can prove that they-them's ownership of that appalling shitbox is a form of legitimate intellectual disability. Which might be fairly easy in some cases. Like, how would I know? I'm not a lawyer. However, I would argue that if these terrible incidents actually represent the front line of humanity's battle against hate crimes, we should most probably all sit down, have a nice cup of tea, a little bit of cake perhaps, and discuss the terms of a long overdue ceasefire. But some geniuses on the forum seem to disagree, with one arguing strenuously for the electrification of the exterior of their urinal as a preemptive hate crime countermeasure, kind of like a big bug zapper. What could possibly go wrong? And when I think about it, probably a fairly simple wiring job in the driveway at home. That is neither advice nor encouragement to do so, by the way. One member of the forum suggested cyber-urinal solidarity might work out there on the mean streets of Berkeley, standing as one, proudly saluting each other as Elon did so memorably, metaphorically throwing one's heart out to others at risk of cheesing or banana peeling in their electric urinals.
We really should salute each other like Elon threw out his heart to the crowd. Deep down inside, we all think like Elon, which is why we purchase his products to support his and his quest to help humanity.
Hear, hear, dude. In respect of Elon, I think deep down we all want to support his. This is, of course, a brilliant piece of lateral thinking, invoking a new cyber-urinal salute. But now that I think about it, it might actually be illegal in some jurisdictions, like I wouldn't want to try it in Victoria, for example. One naysayer in the forum took issue with this, claiming that if we all start throwing our hearts out in this gesture of selfless unification, striving to help humanity and support his, quote, things will get ugly real quick. Hard to disagree with that. But to be fair, there were several suggestions simply to activate the urinal sentry mode, which would just video anyone approaching the urinal with, I don't know, cheese or the remnants of a banana in hand and a certain hateful gleam in their eye, perhaps. Another suggestion was the retrofitification, if that's a word, of flamethrowers. It's not funny. Which is right up there in the deterrent sweepstakes now that I consider that as an alternative. All you have to do is fondue the first would-be urinal cheeser, and I would argue word would quickly get around. He's been fondued. Next. Hate crime epidemic solved. And so simple. Thanks to the Second Amendment in America, flamethrowers are generally not illegal to own in the land of the free and the home of the brave. The flamethrower solution has been tried previously, of course, in South Africa, and that was way back in 1998. Following a series of violent carjackings, an innovative genius named Charles Fourier, I hope I got that right, invented the blaster, which was a brilliant vehicle underbody LPG flamethrower. I loved it at the time. In context, back then, Johannesburg was the murder, assault and rape capital of the world on a per capita basis, although that wasn't in any of the tourism brochures, I note. No data is available on the prevalence of cheesing back then, but I suspect that it too was rife. Faced with the prospect of imminent attack in Joburg, the driver of a blaster-equipped vehicle simply flicked a switch and 5-metre-long LPG flames gloriously leapt from the vehicle's undercarriage circumferentially into the faces of any would-be frickin' cheesers too close for comfort.
A ball of flame will shoot out on both sides of the vehicle, incapacitating the hijackers immediately.
Mr. Furry did have a deeply compassionate side, counterbalancing his unwavering commitment to vehicular self-defense, right? The blaster was unlikely to kill, he said at the time, but would, quote, definitely blind an attacker. Kind of a compromise there. That's always nice. The Automobile Association of South Africa was quite critical of the invention, however, claiming that if the blaster caught on, carjackers would most probably simply murder vehicle occupants at longer range, using guns perhaps, before any blaster could envelop them and their evil cheese, or fruit peel, in hellfire. Only a few hundred blasters were ever ultimately sold, sadly, mainly because of the high price tag, I suspect. The blaster disappeared tragically from the automotive accessory landscape in 2001, if memory serves, but Mr. Furry continued his steely commitment to compassionate but fiery self-defense with a less expensive, pocket-sized personal flamethrower. Suddenly, I think I know exactly what I want for Christmas. Flamethrowers are also quite legal in South Africa, or they were at the time at least. I haven't checked lately. Why would I? Perhaps we can pull all of this together now and strive to live in a less hateful world where snivelling snowflakes in their urinal-shaped DeLorean knockoffs, with even worse quality control, don't need to throw their hearts to each other in traffic just to survive, and foie gras-fueled insurgents keep their frickin' cheese in their pants, like the rest of us. What might we do to achieve this new plateau of harmony? Come on, you can do this, dude. Help me out here. This is a ute, right? And every ute needs a dog. We know that, Australia. A dog in line with the underlying values of the vehicle in which it rides, and which is faithfully prepared to give everything to defend the insufferable twat behind the wheel, terrified by imminent cheese or banana peel ambush, or being called an asshole explicitly or implicitly off the back of a hatefully raised middle finger. Let's not forget that. Just like surviving Joburg back in the day. And that dog, I would argue, is the Terminator from throwflame.com. I love it. This is the genius high-tech companion. It's like a combination of a unitary go-to robot dog and a compact ARC flamethrower, which can run on either petrol or napalm, conveniently. Although it is rather a long drive to the nearest napalm Bowser. At least it is for me. I'd probably have to make my own here in the Fat Cave. Hashtag, not that hard. The Terminator doubles the flame range of the blaster, and I suppose that's just progress. This dog has a host of new tricks, including LiDAR and laser sighting, first-person view thanks to an onboard camera, and it can be controlled from the driver's seat via Bluetooth using a doggy flamethrower app. So you can stare down a homicidal cheese-wielding bandit without ever actually being face-to-face. Still pretty gutsy, though. Just like Joburg in the good old days. This dog is so damn clever that if you walk up on it carrying cheese, it might just teach you to roll over and play dead. Gives a whole new meaning to the term being done doggy style, doesn't it? The Terminator is just 9,420 greenbacks with free US shipping. Imagine that. Fun fact. And I learned this from jalopnik.com, which is typically very, very informative. Flamethrowers are completely unregulated in 48 states of the USA. This makes the average Australian brain explode, obviously. See, if I owned a particular class of toy gun here, like a gel blaster or something, the cops could arrest me and charge me with real firearms offences. And no, dude, in America, I'm not kidding. But in the social inversion we call America, there are fewer barriers to buying a phone-activated napalm-packing robot flamethrower dog than there are for common children's confectionery. I'm not making this up. In America, proper Kinder Surprise chocolates are illegal because they contain a potentially dangerous tiny toy in the void, which is very dangerous indeed. Unlike a pyromaniacal robot dog being controlled by some snowflake with a smartphone and his finger on the trigger, in America, Kinder Surprises don't actually pack a surprise. But those new robot dogs sure as fuck do. In America, it's generally okay for a robot flamethrower dog to ride fiery shotgun in the bed of a stainless steel urinal on the mean streets of Berkeley, keeping insufferable snowflake twats happy when them might otherwise be hatefully cheesed in a drive-by at almost any turn.